Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is 5 Minutes with Urban Missionary Gabi GP. In our series of theological jargon, today we look at the word TULIP, which is really an acronym. What is TULIP? TULIP is a flower, of course. But in theology, TULIP represents the 5 points of Calvinism. Calvinism is really just a body of theology that was championed by John Calvin, a French theologian of the 13th, 14th century. What do the letters TULIP stand for? They stand for what John Calvin called the 5 doctrines of grace. Remember that John Calvin was after Martin Luther, but also broke away from the Roman Catholic setup and championed a Protestant movement that believed in the 5 points of grace. It's a controversial area, especially for many of us who are in the Pentecostal space, who may side with another foremost theologian called Jacobus Arminian. But that's not our focus for today. This is really to provoke your research. Let's look at TULIP. So T, according to John Calvin, stands for total depravity. What does that mean? He said that mankind, as a result of the original sin of Adam and Eve, is totally depraved, meaning incapable of finding salvation on their own, meaning that there's literally nothing that you and me can do to be saved. We are totally dependent on God reaching down to us to hand us his salvation. So total depravity suggests that unless God intervenes, man is doomed for eternity. U simply stands for unconditional election. What does that mean? It means that God has and will appoint the people that must be saved, and he will extend his salvation to those few people that he has appointed for salvation. They may be predestined to be saved, hence the concept of predestination. So unconditional election simply suggests that there is a set of people that God has set aside that he will extend his grace towards. L is limited atonement. Limited atonement simply suggests that Jesus did not die for everyone. Jesus died for the elect, the people that God has elected to attain salvation. So salvation simply means salvation is not for the whole world, according to John Calvin. Salvation is for the elect, those people who have been predestined to receive salvation. A very controversial subject, but he had enough scriptures to argue out the matter. You want to look it up. I stands for irresistible grace. It simply means that it doesn't matter what you do. When God's grace locates you, you will have to succumb. You will have to accept. You will have to submit. By his authority and sovereignty, God will find a way of locating you for as long as you fall into that set of the elect. The grace of God will locate you. Another controversial one, P, perseverance of the saints. Sometimes people call it once saved, always saved. It seems to suggest that you can't lose your salvation. Also sends theologians into all sorts of camps. But according to John Calvin, once you are in that camp of the elect and you receive salvation, there is no way that you can lose it. That's TULIP, the 5 doctrines of grace according to John Calvin. Look it up. next we might be able to look at something on the flip side. Remember, possibilities are infinite, only your thoughts set the limit.